Back on Hittin Hard with Jon Chuckery on Locked On Sports Atlanta. Head to youtube.com, put that Locked On Sports Atlanta in the search browser. Hit that subscribe button, leave us a comment. Free and available to download on all of your favorite podcast platforms. You can find us on Spotify, Odyssey, whatever your favorites are. Hit us up with a 5-star review. And, of course, give me a follow on my personal Twitter page at JMCH316. So we get ready tonight for Braves baseball. Braves and Mets both back in action as we really head down the final stretch, right? 27 games left for the regular season here, as the Braves are now 1 game behind the Mets and still have 3 to play with the Mets. But here's one thing that I want to watch out for is if you look at the Braves schedule coming up here over this next 8 games, right? They are in Oakland starting tonight. Oakland is they are the most disgraceful, despicable, low-life, dirtbag organization in the entirety of Major League Baseball. And I'm not knocking their players. Their ownership and front office and everything is the absolute disgrace of Major League Baseball with what they've done to that organization. So 2 in Oakland, then 3 in Seattle, who right now is fighting tooth and nail to be a wild card team. They're not going to win that division. Houston's running away with that division. But Seattle's been very good this year. They're a handful of games above 500. And then they'll finish by going to San Francisco. Now, San Francisco is only 3 games below 500. But they play well at home. And don't look now, San Francisco's won 4 in a row. So they're playing well right now. Seattle's really good. You'll certainly throttle Oakland because they're despicable. They're a disgraceful franchise. But those next 3 games in Seattle and San Francisco could be a little bit tricky. Now, compare that to the Mets and their next 10-game stretch that they have. They've got 4 in Pittsburgh against the disgusting, despicable, low-life Pirates. Then they'll head down to Miami to play the god-awful Miami Marlins, and then they'll wrap up at home with a 3-game set against the Chicago Cubs. Ready? The Cubs, Marlins, and Pittsburgh Pirates are a combined, ready? They are a combined 80 games below 500. Those 3 teams are 80 games below 500. And I know the Mets just lost a series to the Washington Nationals coming out of nowhere, okay? But the idea that the Mets are going to start losing multiple series against these dirtbag, low-life organizations, I don't see it happening. Pittsburgh, Miami, and the Cubs. Again, baseball needs to step into some of these organizations. They need to create a floor for the salary cap. They need to do something because this is disgraceful. And the Braves will take on Oakland tonight, who right now have a $25 million payroll. After they've traded everybody away, and this doesn't even count when they gave away Chapman and Olsen at the beginning of the year, they're now sitting at $25 million that they're playing with. Again, Max Scherzer's a $43 million player himself. He's $18 million more than their entire roster that's out there. And again, these teams have all expanded their roster, so you know that they've got some more jamokes that are on their roster that they'll play some of their young guys and try to establish what they are or not. But I just want to caution that, hey, Braves need to keep focused and stay focused because I still want the division at the end of the day. Still want this to be about the Braves taking the division. Taking away that extra playoff game or extra playoff round and things like that and not having to worry about being on the road at any point during the playoffs. I want the Braves to be able to win the division and have a more straightforward path to getting to the World Series again. Both teams, by the way, the Mets and the Braves, both are going to be in the playoffs, okay? At the end of the day, is it going to matter if the Braves don't win the division? No, because they're going to be in the playoffs. Both the Mets and Braves will be in there, okay? And I understand right now the Mets are in a little bit, they were in a little bit of a funk over the weekend against the Nationals. But let's also not forget, they did take 2 of 3 from the LA Dodgers. And by the way, also this week, DeGrom is pitching in the 3rd game this week? He's pitching in game 3 on Wednesday. So again, we've talked about they won't go into any kind of long losing funks because when you've got Scherzer and DeGrom and their game got postponed yesterday, so they didn't play, so they're going to have to make that up here. But when you've got those two guys at the top of rotation, you're not going into any kind of long funks. But the Braves just have to keep focused, keep your foot on the gas pedal, keep doing your thing. You know, we've had to watch a little bit. The runners in scoring position thing has started to creep back around to that. Okay, where are we? Right? Where are we at with all of that? So that's kind of crept its head back in, but they beat up on the Rockies and did what they had to do. They swept the Miami Marlins out of town. And what was really impressive about that is they beat the ever living daylights out of the guy who might be the National League Cy Young winner when all is said and done, Sandy Alcantara. We'll see how he pitches down the stretch because don't look now, the Braves have multiple guys who are in the Cy Young hunt. They have the top two guys for the Rookie of the Year. And you want to talk about fun battles coming down the stretch? The Michael Harris, Spencer Strider debate about who should be Rookie of the Year, and historically the position player has won that battle. But Spencer Strider's on track to be over 200 strikeouts. There are very few guys not named Necro, Smoltz, and those guys that have struck out 200 guys. You've got a few guys, the Kevin Millwoods and such, that have done that before. But a 200 strikeout pitcher in Braves history has not been has been kind of few and far between. It's not like the Dodgers of the 60s where Drysdale and Koufax were throwing 250 Ks every single year for each of them. And Don Sutton was throwing 200 strikeouts a year. They haven't been as many of those for the Braves. But that's going to be a fascinating debate about where Harris and Strider end up. They're going to finish 1-2, but who deserves it more? So there's obviously, look, the division is right there for the taking. What you don't want to do right now with just a handful of games left is stub your toe in a couple of series. And there are, again, in Seattle, in San Francisco, those can kind of go the way that it went against the St. Louis Cardinals. Both of those teams are good enough to take 2 out of 3 from the Atlanta Braves. I don't know if the Pirates and the Marlins and the Cubs, maybe one of those teams is good enough to take, multiple games against the New York Mets. But God, those are just disgusting franchises. And the Braves, by the way, they're going to pound the ever-living daylights out of the frickin' Oakland A's, who are a disgrace to baseball out there. So keep your eyes on this next 8, 9, 10 game stretch for both of these teams. Braves can kind of keep it at 1-2. It's right where you want to be. At this time of the year, when you've only got less than 30 games, all of a sudden, if you get 3, 4, 5 games down, that's a lot to make up. And the Mets have the easiest stretch of anybody in baseball as far as this way the schedule goes, right? Because after we get through that 10-game stretch, they're home again with the Pirates, at Milwaukee, but then they go to Oakland for 3 games, Miami, the Braves, and they finish up with the Washington Nationals. So it's going to be easy running for the Mets. The Braves and Brewers are the only real series that are almost guaranteed to be kind of maybe stub your toe out there. Just keep your foot on the gas, keep your focus, win these games against these god-awful teams. All right, well, thank you so much for making Hittin' Hard with Jon Chuckery your first listen every day. Make A to Z with Mark Zinno your second listen every day as Mark's back talking all things sports in Atlanta. Check him out on our YouTube page at Locked On Sports Atlanta. Hit that subscribe button. Also, leave us a comment there. 5-star review us when you download us for free on all of your favorite podcast platforms, including Spotify and Odyssey. And then follow me on my personal Twitter page at JMCH316. We'll be back for a Hump Day edition tomorrow. This has been Hittin' Hard with Jon Chuckery, Locked On Sports Atlanta.